In the middle of Western Australia, father and son Tim and Jack Carmody have a grim task ahead of them.
What we've got is Dad just trying to bring down with the plane and push him out into an open area, because in the mulga it gets a little bit harder to get to them.
Culling camels is part of daily life on this 405,000 hectare property, Prenty Station.
It started out in regular sort of mobs that I'd be expecting in summer, 13s, 14s, the occasional 35. But what I came across next just completely and utterly threw me. I went from seeing 35 to suddenly it was over 100 of them. 2. It was an overnight change where one day I was thinking I'll get close to the 100, and I'd ended up shooting 180 of them, and I proceeded to go up and up until I peaked out at 435 in a day, which is just some heavy and hard work.
Camels were introduced to Australia in the 1840s to help the early explorers open up the vast interior. By the turn of the 20th century, as many as 20,000 Arabian camels had been transported here. They're dromedaries, meaning they have just one hump. Around 2,000 handlers or cameleers also migrated. When trucks took over, camels were set free, and Australia now supports the largest wild population of dromedaries in the world.
Over the last few years, they've become basically plague proportions in the whole Central Australia.
There's estimated to be 1.2 million feral camels, with their numbers doubling every decade. They cause about $10 million damage each year to native vegetation, infrastructure and waterways.
Definitely in the last 12, 18 months here, you know, we've just absolutely been hammered by them. I think you can put that all down to the dry. I've never seen such poor, emaciated, you know, starving, perishing camels in my whole life.
And these ships of the desert have a phenomenal capacity to drain water destined for cattle.
Yeah, a camel, when it's thirsty, will be able to drink 100 litres, 200 litres. They'll just power through it, and that'll be a few minutes.
At Carnegie Station, manager Brendan Carew is also dealing with invading camels from the adjoining desert.
So we've just pulled up our solar pump, and we're going to lower down a sub pump for the night just to catch up a bit of water here, because camels have been drinking the tank dry at the trough down there.
He's had to constantly check the main watering points and install backup systems to try to replace water the camels have drained. It's another burden in caring for cattle already struggling with the driest summer on record.
They'll come to the trough and they'll push the cattle away from the trough, and they'll surround it, not let the cattle in, and just steal all the water for themselves. Because they're such a big animal, they drink so much water, and if they drink a trough dry, then they just smash it to pieces trying to find more water.
These large, thirsty browsers don't just cause problems on pastoral land.
We had big mob of camel and they wrecked my van.
Aboriginal communities have a love-hate relationship with the often overly friendly ferals, which damage sites of cultural significance and have little regard for property.
At times there can be up to 300 to 400 camels just walking into town. It's quite surreal.
There's too many camels in this community, in this Peterman area, too many. We need to stop all them camels coming in.
In January this year, in South Australia's APY Indigenous lands, more than 3,000 were shot from the air in a major camel crackdown. There's long been talk of turning these carcasses into a commodity. But commercialisation is difficult and hasn't gained much traction.
I would definitely love to see commercialisation. I think just shooting anything or destroying anything and leaving it to rot is just wasteful, you know, everything should be treated as a resource. But having said that, in the absence of a market that's of scale, you know, that can actually deal with the numbers we're talking about, the immediate option is an aerial culling program.
In the last 5 years, I would have had well over 1,000 separate inquiries from 50 plus countries looking for everything from meat's the main one, meat's 90% of the inquiries, but then you go into live export, you go into wool, you go into milk, you go into the hump fat, and all those sorts of things come from that. So there's numerous aspects of the camel and numerous countries that want camel meat.
Former camel catcher Paddy McHugh is all for a new industry. He travels regularly to the Middle East and is a camel broker of sorts.
We have a problem with camels in Australia, I'm not denying that, but shooting it will never work. You will never shoot the problem away. The only way to fix the problem, the only way, is to commercialise the industry.
Even if domestic and international markets were secured, camels would probably need to be farmed to ensure consistency of quality and supply.
A lot of the camels occur in very remote areas where there's no infrastructure, which is needed for them to be mustered and put on trucks and sent off to abattoirs and so on. So that is a major constraint. Also, the remoteness of the sites means that the transport costs are high. Now, camels can only be single-decked on trucks, so straight away the cost of transport is double that you would have for cattle.
The Western Australian Government is looking at the viability of a camel abattoir at Kalgoorlie. Mobile abattoirs are another option.
Mobile abattoirs or central accumulation points would be a pretty good step towards making the camel marketable and lowering our transport costs.
They have to go in there with an overarching plan, build abattoirs, do some sort of culls, wild harvest, educate the masses, educate the farmers, educate the Aboriginal people on what to do. The industry is screaming out for this to happen.
There is another option too, camel milk.
People's first perception is, camel's milk, because it's so foreign to them. And then by the time they have their little taste, they go, oh, it tastes just like cow's milk, you know, slightly salter aftertaste.
There are several camel dairies from Queensland down to Victoria, and they've all based their milking herds on feral camels that have been caught from the wild and trained to cope with handling.
We had one camel where we could have her in a race and touching and everything within a week. Like, she was fine to be able to even touch the udder and start stimulating the udder within a week, where another camel, we've been working on her for about three months now.
The Bedouins have long believed in the healing power of camel milk, with its low lactose and low cholesterol. But with the industry here in its infancy, producers are learning as they go.
It's the agony and the ecstasy. So it is just when you think you're trucking along really well, you'll get a curveball.
Each animal only produces 5 to 6 litres a day, considerably less than dairy cows. And without the usual structures in place to transport and market the milk, the shelf price is more than $20 a litre, in line with the cost internationally.
In Dubai, for instance, where labour is low cost, retail prices are around about $15 Australian per litre. And in the US, where demand is strong and supply is short, retail prices are about $30 a litre.
Some producers are drying the milk into a powder so it has a longer shelf life and can be exported. Others are turning it into cheese and yoghurt, and even skincare.
In a land like Australia, we've got this animal that can survive, through pretty well anything, the worst things that our Mother Nature can throw at it, and we're shooting it. So, and yet it produces meat, it produces milk, it produces fat products for other stuff, hide, leather. So, it's an amazing animal.